Welcome back to the podcast. We are here with Paul from hashtag-smart.com. Now, Paul is an Army veteran. He's a former golf pro. He is the CEO and founder of Hashtag Smart Marketing. Now, who are they and what are they? They are a digital marketing agency. They are blowing up in Los Angeles. They work with attorneys and doctors. So Paul will be telling us about online reviews, about building memorable, synergistic relationships in marketing, and so much more. Paul, glad to be talking to you.
Oh man, super pumped to be here. Thanks for having me.
Super glad to have you. And just for the record, how did we say your last name? Just that way we have all our bases covered.
Yeah, no, it's a tough one. It's not easy. It's Mackiewicz.
All right. Easier to say it than to read it. Paul Mackiewicz from Hashtag Smart. And so so you work with doctors, work with attorneys, you're a digital agency. What has you fired up these days and what do you focus on?
Yeah, one of the biggest things that I do most of my speaking engagements and podcasts about is the zero moment of truth. And this is a concept, it's pretty mind-blowing to me how many people don't know it. It's something that came out from Google about 10 years ago from their Think Google, the think tank that they do as far as business efficiency and really the psychology of the buying making process. And when it came out about 10 years ago, people were like, it's an okay idea, but over the last 2-3 years, it's really exploded as far as the concept and how to apply it to your digital marketing strategies. So just to run through it, anyone that's classically trained in marketing, it's generally a 3-step process. And it's fun. Like I love the show Mad Men, and it always makes me think of this because it's all about awareness. So I got to know who you are. So that might be a billboard or PPC, maybe a social media ad, television commercial, something that makes me aware that you exist. And then the first moment of truth is the actual buying experience. So if you're thinking about retail wise, I see a commercial for Cocoa Puffs on the TV. I get to the store, I'm in this aisle of all these different cereals, and I need something that's going to sway me to pick up that one box of Cocoa Puffs over those other ones. And so maybe it's just the fact I'm aware of the brand. I saw the commercial, my kid got excited about it, And then there is the second moment of truth. And what this is the experience. So now I've gone online, I saw that PPC ad, I called that attorney, we went through my entire legal case. At the end, I got a bunch of money. I'm super happy. This is great. I want to tell the world. I want to hop on Yelp or Google or Facebook, leave a positive review. Or, my friend comes up to me at a backyard barbecue and says, hey, I heard you had a car accident. How'd that all go? And now I'm a referral generator for this attorney because I had a great experience. Or it sucked and this guy didn't call me back and we had a horrible experience. Now if you're more petty than I am, I tend to not leave a whole lot of negative reviews, but a lot of people love leaving negative reviews. So they might go online and complain on Yelp, complain on Google, social media sites, who knows. And now the onus comes down onto that business owner, that attorney, that product to respond to that in some way. And even just not responding is still a response. You're still kind of just saying, oh, it's what it is. But what the zero moment of truth is this amazing concept that we all have access to technology and access to information now that we've never had before. So whereas in Mad Men, awareness was, let's put together this cool magazine, full page spread, and then people will buy from us. Now we see a billboard for an attorney. I go online, I Google them. I look at the other guys in the neighborhood. I see star ratings everywhere I go, whether I'm looking on Google Maps or if I said, hey, Siri, find me a law firm near me. And the Apple Maps pops up with all those little Yelp logos because Apple doesn't have their own review system. They they piggyback off of Yelp's. So now I'm getting input from other people. Maybe I look on social media. I see a little bit of social proof, see some big checks and some pictures or, see some negative reviews there. And now this zero moment of truth, I've gone from becoming aware of a business to actually comparing them to all of the other options I have before I'm even getting to that first moment of making a buying decision. And so that's really what the zero moment of truth is. It's the comparison step that we take before or after becoming aware of a business, but before we're actually handing over our wallets, handing over that credit card or paying that invoice or signing that contract to retain that business or, become a new patient of that doctor or buy those Cocoa Puffs. So it's all about just, being prepared to be compared and knowing the steps and the tools that are out there to make sure you just look amazing. So when people are comparing you online that, you're the obvious choice.
And I think about this all the time, and I'm sure you do too, that like it's so complex now. Like in the Mad Men times, it would just be, someone's reading a magazine and they take their time and they'd be on the slow train that Pete Campbell takes into the city, and they just be like reading every single page of this magazine and saying like, oh, there's a cool ad. Let me pick up my rotary telephone, let me call this phone number and place this order and mail in my check. And as you and I know, like things are move so fast now, and it's so confusing now. And I don't know about you, Paul, but like whenever I have a problem or like something that needs doing, whether it's like, legal or on the house, I don't get to it right away. It's not like a linear process. I'll think about it, forget it, do some Google search, check something on my phone, on my computer, get retargeted, see it on Facebook, see some videos. It's like, it's so hard to even just like follow the process these days. But I have noticed that since your specialty is like doctors and lawyers, I noticed these like what comes to mind is like lawyers putting out like these quick videos, putting out like the TikToks and the Instagram reels and stuff like that with like just these really quick sound bites. And I think like it's kind of, they're playing more of like a long-term game. Like sometimes they're just kind of like building up this audience. And you mentioned even like referral sources. And sometimes these people don't even really know exactly where all of their future customers are going to come from, but they're kind of building this whole like foundation of content. And so is that a thing that you recommend doctors and lawyers do, like putting out like the fun, quick content, or is that something that maybe is only sometimes appropriate?
No, there's no downfall to putting out lots of content. There's say you did put out a horrible video and 3 months down the road, you're like, I really don't like the way I look at it. You can always just delete it. Like people think that, I put this on the internet, it's there forever. It's really not. It's pretty easy to scrape stuff from the internet, delete it from YouTube, unless it's really egregious and somebody screenshotted it or video recorded it and, you really did something. That's probably a bigger problem than just, putting out little pieces and snippets of content. But there will never not be a place for, Coca-Cola advertising. You see that Coca-Cola ad. It's not that like, oh, wow, that made me thirsty right now, I need it. I see it and I'm like, all right, cool, cute polar bears, Christmas time. Yeah, Christmas time kind of makes me think of Coca-Cola now, because I think of those like, Christmas time commercials that they do. And if an attorney is putting out, or a doctor even is putting out, steady content, at least informing people of what they do. That's got to be step one, because it's pretty mind blowing how many attorneys don't like put a focus on, hey, I'm a car accident attorney, or I'm a product liability attorney, or medical malpractice. They're just like, I'm an attorney, like I do personal injury. Like that's great. That's a really broad spectrum. But like if you could find your niches and your focus and start with those and do videos about the things that you're passionate about. And like I have one attorney who really specializes in traumatic brain injuries. TBI, it's a big thing if you get those right cases. And so he knows if he just gets 3-4 of those cases in a year, that's an amazing year for him. Whereas some of these guys are going for like, strictly car accidents, and they're competing with 50 other attorneys within a 10-mile radius of them, and they all kind of look alike, and there's not really that many differentiating factors. So to kind of speak to what you're saying, like if you can use video or even your social posts or comments as a way to differentiate yourself and to show some specialties, show some expertise, give people like an emotional connection real quick. I have one doctor, I was working with him for like 4 or 5 months, and just like trying to drag out of him, like, what's your differentiating factor? What's cool about you? It's like, well, my community likes me. I'm like, well, why do they like you? It's like, oh, I'm a good doctor. I'm like, everyone's a good doctor. Like, what is it about you? And finally I got this guy to be like, well, my kids and I, we love Harry Potter. And, we went to the Hogwarts thing, and he sent me some pictures of it. And so like, I was like, dude, let's do a little Harry Potter week. And so, we did a lot of posts about Harry Potter and like some fun memes with it, and some pictures of him and his kids with their wands. Sorry, I don't know a whole lot about Harry Potter personally, but he loved it. And it allowed him now, like in his office, he's got, a big picture of him and his kids at Hogwarts together. He's got some wands sitting on his receptionist desk, like just these cool little things to help people build an emotional connection with this guy a little bit quicker than if you're just a doctor, you're just a guy. But you can certainly take the authentic self, like the things that you are actually passionate about and you like doing and like talking about, and portray that online as a value proposition. Like just if I move my head here, anybody that likes the Buffalo Bills, I will be the greatest marketer for you ever, because if I get to talk about Buffalo Bills for about 5-10 minutes of my day, before I have to start, turning on the strategic marketing mind, or I got Spider-Man behind me if you like Marvel stuff, like, those relatable factors, they really go a long way because we like buying from people we like. And if we're seeing those things visually before we've ever even, made that initial phone call or that initial contact, it really goes a long way as far as establishing trust and a relationship very early in the process.
And it seems like the way that you're describing it is that like it's easy enough to sort of take that inventory and think of maybe like what are 5 or 6 just random personality attributes to sneak into your marketing and not spend a ton of time on that, but just kind of, like you said, theme the weeks. And that even makes it simple and logical enough to put out to get some work done, to do some content, because I always get so flustered with myself of saying like, well, if I just put out one video, it's only one video. It's not a lot. I need to like make 100 videos. And then I get myself discouraged before I even start. But like thinking in terms of like themes or blocks of weeks makes it simple enough. And so you're making me think about like just dealing with like so many of these doctors, they want to focus on the procedure, right? Like, oh, I do IV therapy, I do shockwave therapy. And then it's frustrating just to like say, well, everyone does that. How are you different? And you're making me think about, I have this dentist and he has 2 offices on like opposite ends of town here. And the one that's near me, it's called Symphony of Smiles. And for some reason, there's a piano in the lobby. I don't know why. I don't know what the relation is, but so that's what sticks out to me. I'm like, I can't even think of like his exact name, and I've gotten him for like 6 years. But I'm like, well, he's the one with the piano in the lobby, and so it's simple enough to even just like try some of these things out. Like you said, the very worst case scenario, you can always click delete on the video, but it'll probably stay there and at least stick and be long-term and be memorable with these people. And so behind you, you said that you have like the Buffalo Bills and you got like books and trophies, but for some reason, Spider-Man is like huge and big. And that's like the most prominent thing on there. And this is podcasting where sometimes we go a little bit off the beaten path, have a little bit of the randomness. So what's the significance of Spider-Man and why is it so huge in the background?
Well, this is actually a gift. I pride myself on jumping at every opportunity that I can throughout life. I mean, when I went to college, I changed my major 4 times as a freshman, didn't know what I wanted to do. I jumped at an opportunity, joined the military. I was overseas like 7 months later. When I got out of the military, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I played a lot of golf when I was in the military. I was like, I'm going to be a golf pro. I kind of jumped at that opportunity. And a lot of times in life, we get beaten and battered, especially like the last 2 years. This Spider-Man, well, one thing I love about Spider-Man more than anything is that he takes great care of the people that are super close to him. And he puts himself in tons of danger in doing it. And he's very selfless. Him and Captain America are my two favorite comic book superheroes. And it's mostly because they're selfless. The reason I love this is one of my buddies, recognized those attributes in me. And when COVID hit, my wife and I were supposed to get married April 10th, 2020. So COVID hit about 2 weeks before it. We had to cancel like it's a huge wedding. It was a destination wedding. We had to cancel our honeymoon. And he sent me this as just kind of a little reminder, like, hey, like shit happens, man. Like Spider-Man's got a rough life. I know that this is a little tough for you. I know you're going through it, but I saw this, saw you, and he just sent it to me. So that's actually a gift from a friend. And then he got a good laugh because my wife and I, we're not people to get deterred. So when we had to cancel our wedding, we just jumped in a camper van. And as all of California was closing, we drove to Arizona, to the first town across the border, got married at the Justice of the Peace. I had to pay a guy $50 to be my witness because we didn't have any witnesses or anything. So it was like me, my dog, my wife driving around in a camper van while the whole world's losing their mind over COVID. We were the only ones at the Grand Canyon all by ourselves, but we actually took Spider-Man with us. So he was in the back of the camper van. So a lot of sentimentality to it, but also I love what he represents. I love that he he keeps his family first and foremost, and he's always willing to kind of put himself out there. It's very selfless in everything he does.
Well, awesome. Well, and that's a helpful message in general. Just that there will be those unexpected life events that knock you down, that kick you over, and there will be times when you get bored, and there will be times when it's time to move on to the new thing or put the best into trying the next opportunity and seeing what happens. And I'm sure that helps as far as a conversation starter when you're dealing with contacting an attorney or a doctor. When you say, Have you had this trouble filling up your doctor's office with COVID, or have you had problems getting new clients as this type of attorney with all the competitiveness out there? And so that's cool for us all to absorb that message, to embrace the differences, the uniqueness, the weirdness, the gifts people give you, the alternatives that you have to sometimes go down that leads to even bigger and better things. And you look back and say, man, I'm really glad that I didn't get what I wanted back in April 2020, because that led to all these other amazing adventures, as opposed to something that would have been okay to go the traditional plan, but it would have just been kind of something not as memorable as all the adventures we've had since then. So that is really cool to listen to. And so as we're wrapping up, winding down our conversation, getting to the tail end of things, we talked about all the randomness, but that's always good, right? Because it's something that people are listening to that's different than the usual. Well, here's some steps with your digital marketing, but we got to cover a little bit of video content creation, online reviews, differentiating yourself. What do you think is the most important message for attorneys and doctors and just marketers in general to hear these days? Like, what are we all missing? What's the thing to be focusing on right now?
Yeah, I always bring it back to this phrase: is you just have to be prepared to be compared. If you have to go through every once in a while, put yourself in the shoes of a client. Google yourself, Google personal injury attorney near me. Look at those dots, and actually be very honest about yourself throughout the situation. If you're running, say, like PPC ads or something, and you're a 3.5 on Google and a 4 on Yelp, and all your competitors have better reviews than you and more reviews than you, then chances are you're probably wasting quite a bit of money. And so being like strategic and thinking about what to do with your marketing dollars, PPC can get real expensive real quick, but if you're not set up and have like a good foundation, first and foremost, like, it blows my mind how many high profile attorneys don't even have their Google business listing set up properly. And the amount of conversion points you can put right into a Google business listing before we're even thinking about SEO or website or conversion from the website. Like, if I, don't see the different practice areas that you specialize in right in your Google business listing, I might have blown right by you and gone right into organics. Whereas if you have product cards that says, like, I do rideshare accidents, or I do slip and fall accidents, I do dog bites, like, really put that information right in front of them, make it easy. And then right on that page, you're linking to that page of content on your site. You've got a one button calling right on top. You could have appointment setting right in it. I've been blown away recently at how many messages my clients are actually getting straight through the Google business listing. So messaging through GMB, that only started about 2-3 months ago. And we're already seeing, a couple messages a week just from turning it on. And so many businesses I've seen, like, haven't even turned it on. And it's, thinking of those really two main sources that I always say is, like, Yelp. Even though I'm not a huge fan of Yelp, they are what they are. But they're tied to Apple products. You're talking about 40% of the market that if you don't look good over there, you're potentially missing out on. And then your Google business listing. And these things I'm telling you are 100% free. Like, I'm not selling you anything. I'm saying you have a free listing here and a free listing there. Go clean them up, make them look nice, put some good images on there. Images would probably be the next thing that I would touch on. And it's, again, just a little mind blowing to me. I went to a new client of mine. I went to his office to go and talk with some of the attorneys, kind of get a feel for the place. I walked in. This is the coolest law firm I'd ever seen. They had like these huge glass offices. They have neons on the wall. They had some great artwork everywhere. I was like, wow, this is a place this is a cool little law firm. Not a single picture online. Nobody would ever know that like there was an experience coming in there. And so really, think about the experience that you're building for your clients. Think about that initial impression that people are getting from you in that first 3 to 5 seconds of finding you, whether it's on Google, your website, or your business listings. Really put some thought into that and think about, if I was a client, what is it that I'm going to see that's going to make me go, okay, cool, like emotional connection. I can relate to this guy. I feel like I could do business with him fairly easily. And I promise you, it will transition pretty quickly into seeing an increase in contacts, at least. Still got to figure out your intake process, make sure you're calling people back and doing all that stuff. But now you're at least making sure that first step is pretty well covered. And then you can start really thinking about big PPC campaigns and video campaigns and stuff like that. So cover your bases first, and you'd be amazed at the impact that can have. And then after that, it makes everything else quite a bit easier when you look great in comparison to those around you.
I like that a lot. That's the low hanging fruit. And you hear about that concept of the one thing, like what's the one thing that you can fix now that opens up the other opportunities. And you make it sound so easy. And which I mean, it can be if we do things in the order of importance, plan our time, figure out what needs to be done now, what needs to be done later. And what you're making me think of is there's so many times when it's easy to just be ignorant, right? And be ignorant of what happens when someone Google searches this, be ignorant of what my competitors are doing. And that seems like a recipe for later on becoming so overwhelmed at how much catching up you have to do, right? It's like if you have a bunch of mail stacked up, a bunch of bills stacked up, and you say like, oh my gosh, I'm just overwhelmed with even what's in front of me. And so it just reminds me that how important it is to at least like be aware of a few of these things, have that Google My Business listing cleaned up, have the keywords so that way if someone is looking for a specific type of attorney, instead of being a maybe, it can be a yes, because it's like, this is exactly what I'm looking for. And another easy win, another easy fix is you have that amazing attorney's office, doctor's office. If you, when you walk in the inside, it looks so good, take the pictures, put them on social media, put them on the business listing, because I don't know why, Paul, but like, I have to see the outside and the inside before I go to a physical location. I'm just maybe I'm just like that nervous, that anxious, but it seems like that's a common thing. Like, does the Yelp listing say, are they open? What's their hours? What's their address? And then pictures of inside and outside. I don't know why. Maybe I just don't want to seem stupid walking into the wrong place. Who the heck knows? But we want to make sure, as we're approaching the last few minutes here, to give you some nice promotion, give you some nice plugs. So if people were listening, they were amazed by just how easy, fun, simple you made some of these things. What is the next step here? Where should people go? How can they reach out? And what can they do once they find you and reach your site?
Yeah, so I am a big advocate of free. I'm a big advocate of, letting people try things. So my company and I, we developed it. We call it the eBrand dashboard. But what it is basically a singular hub that you can manage all of your business listings, all of your review sites, post all of your social media, manage your SEO, email campaigns, website analytics. It's just a singular hub that in our research, we found it saves businesses about 20 hours a month, and it increases online activity by about 400% in 30 days. So it's this really awesome tool. We let people try it out for free for 2 weeks. If you do decide you want to use it, we keep the price point nice and low, which is only about $150 a month, to just have your entire online presence kind of distilled into a little 5-minute daily action, as opposed to, oh, what am I going to post on social this day? It kind of feeds you all of that type of cool information and data. So that is on my personal website, which is ZMOTExpert, ZMOTEXPERT.com. Also, I am a very strict calendar follower. If it's not on my calendar, it does not exist. So I put my calendar link right on there. If you want to, just chit chat, maybe about the Buffalo Bills, Spider-Man, your digital marketing efforts, any of those fun topics. My calendar's right there. Jump in there, grab a little 15 or 30-minute slot. It's the easiest way to do it. And like I said, I never look at LinkedIn. All I get is solicitations over there. I do look at Instagram every once in a while because we are a visual company. I like putting out fun memes and things like that. Anyway, we actually recently have a nice Spider-Man meme on there, I think from just last week. So Instagram is #SmartMarketing, all written out. I do check that fairly often. So those would probably be the two best things. Also, I just released a webinar on optimizing your Google business listing for attorneys. So if there are any attorneys out there that don't even really know where to start, or you feel like you've started and you just haven't really pushed it to the limits of what you can do over on your Google business listing, the webinar is also available right there on ZMOTExpert.com.
Super great. And so just to make sure I heard you right, that's ZMOTExpert.com. Did I get that right?
That is correct. Yep. As in the zero moment of truth.
Ooh, there we go. I didn't make the connection until you're halfway done saying it. Perfect. The zero moment of truth. It all comes full circle. And if you're out there listening or watching and you say, I've gotten a good start and I've gotten a handle on some of these things, but I know I could do more. I know I could do better. I know that at least it could be consistent. Then let Paul help you. Let him help you with this free tool, with this phone call. Go to ZMOTExpert.com. Go to Instagram.com/#SmartMarketing. Did I get that right too?
Nailed it.
All right. We're scoring 100% today. And if you out there in podcast land would like to score 100% or at least get to 100% eventually, at least get caught up here with your competitors, at least stay on the trends, you owe it to yourself and your business and your future to go to zmotexpert.com. And you've heard Paul is an amazing guy. He's full of personality, full of the randomness in a good way. So he's a person you're going to want to follow on social media and check out his website. That way he can retarget you and you can get yourself educated. And it doesn't all have to happen all overnight, but just start making these steps so that way you can have a well-oiled machine, less stress, more money, more patients, more clients, all the things we all want. zmotexpert.com is the place to go. And any final parting words of advice, Paul?
Nah, the last thing I would say is just, I feel like a lot of the world right now is living in a lot of fear. We're told every day to be scared of your neighbor, be scared of this, be scared of that. I would implore, especially business owners, there's never been a better time than right now to just be fearless. Be fearless in what you're doing. Be fearless in your marketing. Be fearless in your business growth. Go at it. Go get some. And don't stop letting that annoying little voice in the back of your head saying maybe you can't do it. Stop letting that take control and move forward.
I love it. It's time for a change, and we'll see you at zmotexpert.com.